Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rakesh. Okay. So I will talk first about NID a little bit, and then what students do, what kind of work they do at NID, and then we'll start the liquid pottery presentation. So this is NID campus. The main gate looks like this. So it started in 1961 after independence, when Jawaharlal Nehru, first Prime Minister of India, invited American designer couple, Charles and Ray Eames. So Charles and Ray Eames took a tour of India and then created a report. On the basis of it, NID was generated or incepted, you can say. And these designers roamed around in India and saw various crafts around it. And as an essence of this report, it says that they found a terracotta pot, a lota, which is called in India a lota, has very unique ability or to show the design development. So in this report, explaining the lota, the terracotta pot, the designer Charles Eames says that it is developed over the years, how it is made, what is the volume, what is the sound like when it is filled up, how it is carried by the women at the waist, on the head or the shoulder, by the men and the women, how it is filled from the well, and there are so many other aspects, how it has taken shape for different liquids to fill in and store. And at NID, there are 16 or 17 disciplines, various disciplines, and one of them is industrial design. And industrial design, there is ceramics and glass design, which was started in 1960s by Sri Dashrath Patel, who was a painter, artist, designer. So now, moving forward, these are the studios, ceramic studios, where students do this kind of work. So hand building, very basic terracotta hand building techniques. Wheel throwing, you also do that. Glazes, students create variety of glazes. We also have a glass blowing studio, various kilns to fuse and slump and melt glass. Students also do glass torch work and create miniature glass forms. And we also do model and mold making in plaster for slip casting purposes. Students learn various design courses like elements of form, which is very, very important in ceramics and glass design. Decal and transfer printing, that is also a very important part of ceramics and glass design because it ornates the white pottery. Students also learn to take inspiration from the nature and create a variety of forms and objects of function and aesthetics. Students also work in sanitary ware and sanitary ware, kitchenware, tiles industry as well. And the various other tableware, perfume bottles, lighting, decorware, there are other areas where students work. And graduates have created or established their own studios after they go out from the university. This is one of the very important entrepreneurship where the student or graduate has created recycled ceramics by using 60% of wastage ceramics to create new objects. Okay, moving ahead, we will now look at the liquid pottery. So this was a craft workshop which I was heading this cluster. So if you recognize the India here, can you see the cursor? India here. And this is the Ladakh, northern part of the region where the Ladakh is, and the small dot denotes the Likir or the Leh area. And it is expanded where this is Leh airport and this is the Likir village. So it is from 52 kilometers from the main city. This is sort of geographical region where it shows the mountainous, arid, dry land. People practice crafts in their interiors during winter seasons as well as in summers also. But their main occupation is farming. This is side occupation. So they do weaving, knitting, clay modeling, wood carving, various crafts. Few more pictures from stone carving, Buddhist mantras written on stones, wood carving, copper metal craft, and thangka paintings, felt animals. So these kind of objects are found in the local markets. Everything which is made in the village or in the city is consumed within the local market. This is attire, dresses of the local people there, traditional attires. Clay objects in daily use. You can see on the slide, there are various objects which are in daily use, which are worn and used over the time. Some are pots for water storage, tableware for snacks, incense holders, and light fire domes. This is a scene from the pottery workshop at Likir, which we worked there. I'm sitting here. If you see back where we worked. This is the father and son duo who are keeping this tradition alive and continue the pottery making in that particular village. And also there is a women's self-help group who has come together and created a studio to make small lanterns out of clay. So now I will talk about the process of making, how it is done. There are raw materials, source of clay. There are certain mountains of clay from where this clay is sourced. There is cow dung ash, which is used for making pots while the pot rests on the ash so that doesn't bent or dented. So this is a certain kind of grass which is scraped from the ground and with which the firing kiln is covered to hold the heat. And this is clay stored, and this is cow dung and wood stored as a fuel for firing pots. These are tools which are made of locally apricot wood and roots. These are some tapping tools made up of clay only and sun-dried. These are molds, hump molds made of clay and fired. And the very interesting thing is their wheel. The wheel is entirely made up of clay, and it is fixed in the ground so that it is not ported from one place to another place. The potter sits on the ground and then work with on the wheel while rotating it slowly with the hands. And this the potters in this image is crushing the clay with the wooden hammer. So this is a traditional process of making. The clay is crushed, sieved, and then mixed with the sand in certain proportion and immediately mixed with water to prepare the dough, and then which is then wedged well and stored in jute cloth and kept in for modeling and making pots. So this is the basic traditional setup where the potter sits on the ground and wheel is in front of him and all rest of the tools and molds are around him. And this is a step-by-step process of making one simple pot where the potter starts with the hump mold and then place clay over it and tap it to make a hollow form. And you can see the cow dung ash is stored or placed on the wheel so that the orientation of the mold can be adjusted and set at an axis. And when it is semi-dried, it is inverted and the foot or the other parts are joined together by scoring the slab and applying a little slip and joining two elements. And it is finished with the goat leather skin and tapped with these kind of tools to create an even layer. So very interesting part is that they make this spout by rolling clay over a rope, and then which is bent. After the rope burns in the firing, the spout is hollow, and then it is how created. And these are finished final objects which are not fired yet. And he's only the person who can make these large and ornated objects in that entire region. And recent recent change they had done, they use small glass beads on the pots, which fuses with the clay and gives a very aesthetic appeal to the pots. Now we will look into the traditional firing process of these pots. These potters, they don't have a permanent kiln traditionally. So on the ground, they lay stones around where they want to fire the pots, and then spread cow dungs on the ground and lay pots, arrange pots in a certain way so that it can be fired efficiently. And these pots are again covered with the cow dung, and then it is fired overnight. In the firing starts in the evening and burns till the morning, and in the morning it cools down, and then the pots are sorted. So this is how it looks when the pots are fired. They sort it out from the ash of the cow dung and then segregate as per the firing grades while they're fired. These are variety of objects they have made in their studio, in their workshop, and you can see these are glossy glazed objects. The glaze they acquire from the nearby mountains, it is like borax, which they cover when the pot is hot and then refire again. And you can see the beads fuse well at this temperature and become a part of this beautiful pots. So there are more variety of objects for daily use. Okay, so looking at the modern day challenges of the potters, I will just explain it. And these challenges we found out while we did the workshop with these potters. We invited these potters in Ahmedabad NID and did collaborated workshop with the design teams to understand and provide wider exposure to them. So they repeated and the traditional processes at NID, but simulating the materials which were available in the Ahmedabad. And then with the designers, the various designs were developed. They were exposed to various studios. They visited various workshops, designers' works, and then came back and created from their own expressions, from on their minds and ideas. These designers were hired designers, professional designers, but they were also exposed to and they visited various studios, pottery studios around the city, like Reo Mikami went to Sarkhej in the India in Ahmedabad. So design team also created portable wheel for them so that they can move and work wherever they want. These are various glimpses of the ongoing workshop where craftsmen are creating, painting, scribbling on the pots, motifs from their traditional stories and regions. Looking at the tourism industry in this region, Ladakh region, like you have a lot of tourists coming from various parts of the world in Tokyo, similar is the situation in Ladakh. So looking at that situation, we created variety of souvenirs for them to sell to the tourists. These are the pictures of the outcome of the workshop. After these workshops, they get enlightened and they got many orders from the hospitality industry, the hotels around the regions where the tourists were staying. There was so much of demand that they could not meet because there are 2 only or 3 potters in the region to make all these. And their main challenge is firing in the region because there are families, men's are going out in the city for work and women's are taking care of the household chores. And women take care of because every household has a cattle or cows to rear. They take care of the animals. No men at the home or the village means they have to they have a lot of burden at the home, so they sell off their animals. And no animals means no cow. No cow means no dung. No dung means no firing, or no fuel for firing. So that means they have firing issues, firing challenges. So they have to shift to newer methods or modern technology for firing their pots. Considering this situation, the design team created a DIY or makeshift small terracotta firing kiln using the canisters or drum. Considering their economic situations, the design team created very economic solution for this. The entire kiln was made in 2,000 rupees. Then we also informed them how to operate this kiln using the gas firing. So only 4 kgs of gas were used to fire all these small objects. This is before firing and this is after firing. And this is the pictures from the workshop which we did in the village settings. First workshops were done in the village settings. And these are objects which were created with the collaboration of design team. Small animals, miniatures, considering the tourism in the area. But we were also questioning during this, when we were making kiln, that should we keep this traditional methods as traditional, or they should also learn the contemporary or modern techniques of firing? Should we introduce the newer kiln or not? So that was also a question going in our mind. The gas one. So should they know, or should they operate that or not? But it was decided to let them know, and then they decide what to do with that. And this is like consolidation, where all the participants were handed over the certificates, and we also gave them the wheels which were produced for them, and some tools and equipments for gas firing, like you have temperature setters and thermocouples, so that they can try and experiment with those kind of equipment. So this was all about the liquid pottery. Thank you so much.